is happening at Parker Center. There have been several hundred demonstrators outside.
Car stopped.
Car just moved into that intersection.
In 1992, I was at work. At the time, I was a lieutenant and assigned to our headquarters, and we got notice that there was a uprising in the city of Los Angeles, and we were told that you need to call your families and let them know that you will not be home tonight. You will be on a 12 and 12 hour shift, and therefore let your loved ones know that you're on duty from this point forward.
Here at the corner of Vernon and Vermont, south central Los Angeles, just about a quarter mile south of the Coliseum.
On the very time that the civil unrest was unfolding, like a number of our pastors, it was a Wednesday night, we were in Bible studies with our folks. We'd heard that the verdict had been read, but we just went on with our normal business, not knowing that anything dramatic was going to be happening. And so we were there with a small group of 5 or 6 of our church members, and just beginning to sing some songs and open the scripture together. And a call came in, and it was one of our church members saying, "Are you at church? You better get home." So what's going on? Well, about that time, our intern also showed up, and as it turns out, our intern was down on Normandy and Florence picking up people for prayer group.
Units from the fire department that are just arriving in front of.
And at this fire, Los Angeles City fire units are present and are battling it.
The 1992 riots that took place because of the Rodney King beating and the officers being acquitted, that created so much turmoil in our city. And I lived right in the middle of the fires with my 2 children. I live in the USC area, and I know from that event, people were lined up at St. Mark's, at Holy Trinity, Messiah, Angelica, looking for food and for materials that they needed to make ends meet as a result of those fires. So the rest of the church, I'm very pleased to know that they did come through by bringing what we needed to share with the community.
I wanted to be there for people, but I received calls from our members saying, "Pastor, you're white." and of course I knew that, but that image of the truck driver being dragged out of his truck was with everybody at that point, and so they had concern for my safety, and so I took that seriously, but what happened is I would go to the church, and some of our members would come and be with me, and we would be together.
Can we all get along? Can we get along? Can we stop making it horrible for the older people and the kids? I mean, we've got enough smog here in Los Angeles, let alone to deal with setting these fires and things. It's not gonna change anything. We'll get our justice. They've won the battle, but they haven't won the war.
City Parish started in 1992 after the civil unrest surrounding the Rodney King incident, and 5 pastors, Lutheran pastors here in the cities of Inglewood, Compton, and Los Angeles came together and decided they needed to do something to assist in bringing the communities together and dealing with many of the problems that arose, which actually started the unrest. And they decided they needed to do something toward that end, and New City Parish was born out of the ashes of the 1992 riots.
That civil unrest of 1992, by the way, it gave as hard as that was and as damaging as that was to us in so many ways, it gave birth to so much creativity and energy. I'm reminded of the parable of the manure around the tree. You know, don't cut down the tree, put a little manure around it and see what happens in 2 or 3 years. And 1992 was really a terrible, terrible experience for us. But what happened from that in our communities, what grew from that, what flowered from that was absolutely unbelievable.
People ask, what is New City Parish? More than just the vision of the 5 founding pastors, more than NCP's mission statement, more than the 8 congregations that make up the New City Parish Coalition today. That's Pueblo de Dios in Compton, First Lutheran Chapel of Peace and Holy Trinity in Inglewood, and Community Ascension, St. Mark's and Angelica in Los Angeles. More than this, I think New City Parish is a distinctive way of being church in the world. New City Parish is a distinctive and powerful way to be Jesus Christ in, with, and among the people of our cities.
Yes, we call it transforming Bible study, and this method really comes from Dr. Walter Wink, who was a professor of mine at Union Seminary years ago and began this in our New Testament class. And it's really about empowering everybody around the table to contribute to the Bible study. So it's not a leader lecturing and telling people what to think about that Bible passage, but rather the leader is a guide and brings questions to the table.
A lot of what happened, interestingly enough, just like New City Parish, happened because people came together at a grassroots level, sat down and planned and reflected. You know, we followed the principles of Paulo Freire, and a lot of our activities in the churches, in New City Parish, and in the community were based on seeing the realities that we were struggling with, taking them face on, and just not blinking. These are the problems that we're facing. Pensar, we said, we need to reflect somehow on what we're seeing. So of course, as Christians, we use our Bible, we sift through and reflect on what does God call us to do? What do you need to do about that? And then the third piece, which was a critical piece for us in New City Parish, actuar. We have to act, we have to do something, you know, to help to change our communities.
We have actually our food distribution. We do it every Thursday at 9. We go to the food bank, pick up food, and then we bring it back to the church so the community can come and take part of that food to their homes.
To me, there are so few places in our world and in our church where people of different races and backgrounds and ethnicities and cultures come together for common purpose. And New City Parish has been one of the few places where I've really experienced that. For us, we're engaged in conversations around racial justice all the time, trying to figure out what it means to build bridges. We have talked openly about Black Lives Matter, and have done some demonstrations around that, had conversations about that in worship, where it's not just me preaching, but I open it up and we have a conversation about how we're reacting to the things that are going on in our world. I know that we're only scratching the surface of what we could do, and yet still, it gives me such hope to see it when it does work and when it does happen. So I hope that New City Parish can continue to do that well into the future.
There are a lot of people who are marginalized. Not only do they need food and housing, they need to have a support system. And I think the church is a great place for them to come and feel welcome.
We work with a lot of people that have come out of prison, and they have said the church doesn't want us, but we say no, you're welcome. God loves you, and we love you too.
Well, we anticipated some of the changes that we were seeing. One of the big ones being gentrification. And gentrification, of course, the gentry coming back into the community. What that really means, folks sometimes associate that with white folks coming back, and I think that's not correct. It's really people with more resources coming back in, economic resources, of varying races and cultures, and buying up properties. And especially as we're seeing these metro rail lines coming in, which are very, very positive pieces of our communities, but they create hot spots and make it more challenging. Holy Trinity has a whole new sports complex that's going to be built around them.
New families will be moving in, so there'll be a lot of new people coming into the community, and so we need to get to know our community again. I think we've done well with that over the years, and our congregation is a community church, but now we're going to have to get to know our community all over again.
I think one of the biggest current issues right now, as we were previously talking, it's the immigration system. You know, I am a dreamer. My brother's a dreamer as well, and we have other young members of the church that are dreamers as well. And it impacts us really bad because we are currently in a situation where we don't know if to continue just our daily life, pursuing our dreams, working hard, you know, or if we should just stop because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I can tell you by personal experience of what I've heard in the same communities that church should become a sanctuary for immigrants. I mean, just the testimony that, the little testimony that I just gave you, just to share it out there with the people to realize that we're not here just because we want to. We're here because we also want to fight for something. We also have a life. We also want to work. I think that's one of the biggest things, just to help us reach out to other people and help us pass our voice, because some of us are scared of being that voice. And there's many other people out there that can be that voice for us. And I think church could be a part of that too.
For 25 years, the people of New City Parish have been renewing neighbors and communities in the cities of Compton, Inglewood, and Los Angeles. Today, our founders and longtime leaders are making way for a new generation of leaders, gifted, creative, faithful young people whom God is calling to be Jesus in the city now.
In too many of our church communities, were in general, there's such a focus on worshiping Jesus. But I think that our young people and the next generation is looking at how do we do what Jesus did.
I think the next generation is hope. I mean, they've given me hope. The kids at my church are leaders. They step up and they help lead the worship service, and they help lead the trips that we go on and lead the conversations. And I'm always so amazed at what they bring to the table. So they give me hope, not only for the future but for the present of our church and our world.
Do everything you can possibly do to help to make the world a better place, you know. And be of service. Give back. Don't just take for granted that the world owes you anything.
And so I'm saying, want the youth to know, we're trying to raise you up to teach you what happens so that you can step into the place. So I'm praying that God will give them that compassion and that drive to want to keep this ministry going.
The theme for our event is, can we just all get along? Those words of Rodney King, bridging our differences. And to me, especially in this day and time and what is happening in our nation right now, our communities, with the divisiveness and all, my message is really to encourage people to embrace and celebrate our diversity as people of God, and to help one another bridge our differences, because to me that's certainly what Jesus was about, as he said, love one another as I have loved you.
can we all get along?
Yes.